Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Steve Pettit.
Thank you. I'm gonna come over here. Just come a little closer, if that's all right with you. Got the circa 1972 Jackson's official microphone here. I should break into ABC or something. Thanks so much, Jason. Thank you so much, brother. Y'all don't know that before I did this education thing, I had a little hustle. You know, you gotta have a hustle when you're broke. I used to cut hair. So a lot of my friends who I used to cut their hair when I was in college don't have hair anymore. There's one of you who still has it. I don't know if that means I did a good job or a bad job, but you know, I did what I had to do. Thank you so much for bringing me here. I'm really excited to be here because I'm here with leaders. And that means something to me. The term leader is often used but rarely understood. We often hear people talk about leadership, but we don't really understand the costs of leadership. Leadership at its core is taking people from here and getting them there. It's really what a leader does. What a leader does is finds a way to inspire individuals to get from here to there. The methods that leaders use are varied, but the most compelling is the truth. And I say that because so many people say that they want to be leaders, but they're really not prepared to pay the cost. It ain't easy being out front. In fact, the longer you're out front, the more people can see the things that you didn't want them to see. Leaders, in many ways, are the most reviled because they allow themselves to be seen and to be publicly humiliated at times for something that exists inside them as a truth that burns deep inside their soul. And so when you ask yourself if you want to be a leader, you have to ask yourself if you're prepared to pay the cost of exposing the truth. In 1776, our founding fathers said that there were truths that were self-evident. Think about that. To say that truths are self-evident, it means it doesn't matter if I say it's true. It doesn't mean if you say it's true, it's just true. Frederick Douglass in 1863, a speech at Hillsdale College, said that when you have the truth, you are in the majority, even if you are only one. He said that falsehoods can be in multitudes, but the truth will always be the majority. And in 2009, Jay-Z said, women lie, men lie, but numbers don't. The truth, no matter what you say, is the truth. And when you're a leader, you're prepared to speak the truth even if it makes other people uncomfortable. In fact, because it makes other people uncomfortable. Because the only way to get people to do something is to take them from where they are, from here, to get them there. And the only way you can convince them ultimately to get up from this comfortable space is to make this space no longer comfortable. But most of us are more concerned with making friends than making a difference, and as a result, we spend our lives trying to impress and improve our relationship with other people as opposed to improving the life of others who we will never meet. A true leader understands that their obligation is to do something for people who they will never, ever speak with. Real leaders get it. They understand that they have an obligation to be more than anything that they ever thought imaginable. And as they are leaders, they understand that much of their time will be spent fighting the very people that they are trying to help. One of the hardest parts of my job is dealing with grown people. I'm not particularly fond of grown people because they're aggravating. They're very good. You think as young people, they're aggravating to you. You figure once you become one of them, they won't be. They're more so. Because you understand that what they're doing, they're willfully doing. They're doing things just to be aggravated. Instead of them seizing the opportunity to prove their lives and the lives of others, they would rather take pettiness and let that be their guide. Instead of them humbling themselves to allow somebody to help them, they'd rather hurt the individual because they don't want that person who's supposed to be helping them to get ahead. They don't want to make it seem like you got more than you should have, therefore they're prepared to lose theirs just to take yours. Real leadership ain't fun. Standing out front, having people say things about you that you could never have imagined people saying, as the way in which they seem almost to introduce you. That becomes your name. Their hatred of themselves becomes your problem. Real leaders understand that theirs are not the gifts of a worldly experience. Their gifts are in some other place. They can't always be celebrated. Dr. King wrote a letter from Birmingham prison. Let me explain to you why that letter is so important. It's so important because here was a man, a handsome young man, with a beautiful wife and kids. Had a nice church in Atlanta. Had graduated college, gone there at 16 years old. He was good. He didn't need to be out there having people trying to split his head open. He didn't need people trying to kill him. He didn't need people calling him names. He was doing it because he believed it was the right thing to do. Because there was a truth that was in him, that burned within him, that was self-evident, that he had to put out there. He was a leader. That was his responsibility. He had to get it out there. But his cost for doing it was not just that people were trying to kill him, who he was trying to change, but at his own people, black people, and preachers, white liberals, and friends were telling him to stop, to go home. And so there he sat in a Birmingham prison, and he basically, where he should have written a letter today, and said, look, I ain't even trying to stay in this prison. This is not for me. I live in Atlanta, Holmes. I don't live in Birmingham. I didn't commit a crime. I'm here trying to help you. And you're mad at me because I'm here to try to help you. And I have to convince myself and my family that being here is good for you and me. This self-evident truth, this thing, this real thing, this dealing with real issues. See, a lot of you are led to believe that leadership is a position that you have, like a position that you hold. You're the vice president of FCGA, you're the president of the organization, or you're the dean of that organization. It's not the position you hold. It's your position. See, it doesn't matter what your title is. There are people who are the presidents of certain things and they're not leaders. Coaches of certain things and not leaders. Captains of certain, they're not leaders. They're just the most palatable people. They're the people easiest to get along with. They really ain't leaders. They won the election because they're the least threatening people. That's what makes them the person in charge. But they're really just bureaucrats is what they are. If you ask them to make a decision, they won't. Their objective is to make sure, well, what does this group over here think? And what does this group think? And they won't move a muscle until they get consensus. That's not leadership. Leadership occurs when it needs to happen. Leadership is timely. It's right now. You make a decision right now because it needs to be made. You don't wait for permission. A real leader doesn't wait for permission. A real leader asks for forgiveness, not permission. Leader does it, and then you figure out what it meant. A leader doesn't spend a whole bunch of time trying to make you understand it. That's not his job. That's your job. That's what a leader is. A leader can lead from the back of the line. We have school, the youngest children in our school are 3 years old. And at 3 years old, you can see leaders. At 3. As soon as a child can be upright, you can see a leader. Even children crawling on the ground can show you which ones are leaders. The leaders carve their own path. They just do. They don't even know why. You ask them, why'd you go over there? I don't know. They really don't. At the back of this line,
the teachers work so hard in elementary school, they work so hard to try and get kids to stand in line. It's like the most important thing for an elementary school teacher to do is to get kids to stand in line. Stand in line. Like everything. They practice standing in line because I guess standing in line is really important. I'm not sure I understand why just yet, but my teachers seem to be really fond of it, so I haven't found a reason to go against them. But I'm hoping one day they're going to really explain to me why we need to practice standing in line. But you watch as these children stand in line. Even in standing in line, you'll see that the youngest among them will stand in line in a different way. They will make themselves seen. Their leadership will show itself. This is the truth that's self-evident. This is something that you don't need to expect someone to explain to you. It will just show itself. And here you are on a campus, a beautiful campus, I might add. And you are the elected official leaders? Question mark. How do you know your leaders? What have you done? To be a leader doesn't just mean to hold a position. It means to take people from here to there. So what then have you done? A life well lived matters. When you've really done something, it matters. And you matter. You don't have to matter to millions. Simply being visible and popular or well-known doesn't make you a leader. It makes you visible, well-known, and popular. But it doesn't make you a leader by any stretch of the imagination any more than making somebody a full professor makes them a great teacher. These truths being self-evident, if you are leaders, then people should know that you're a leader. The story that I shared there is true, first. And second, the reason why I was able to graduate from college is not because my family somehow had a windfall of money, because they didn't. It was because on campus, I was committed to changing the conditions of my community. I went to a college where almost everybody was white. And while we were there, we had very little state people of color on campus. And I often found myself fighting with the very people who I was trying to get to do things. If I threw a party, everybody was going to come. If somehow somebody could get alcohol around it, then they really will come. But if I had a speaker come, I mean, even my boys, I'm like, come on, man, come check this brother out. You gonna look like, yeah, I'll be down there. And I was, come on, man, you come down there. I'll take $2 off the haircut. You just come down and out. Anything I could do to get these, and they would sit there and they play whatever the video game was at the time and just trying to get them to come out to just maybe hear something that might change their hearts and might make our circumstances better. It used to frustrate me to no end to be on a Division I college campus and see these big brothers on campus walking around with their heads down and the headphones on and hoodies over the top of the head. And I'm thinking, do you see the image that you cast? Do you see what you look like to the rest of the world? You don't look powerful. You don't look strong. You look like a slave. Harriet Tubman is credited for saying that she could have freed more slaves if more people had known they were slaves. Your greatest challenge is not to inspire the individuals on the other side to change their hearts, but to get the people who are supposed to be on your side to change theirs, to do something different. I'm reading a book now. It's about habit formation. It's about how habits are formed. And it talks about a habit cycle, that there's a cue, meaning something happens, then there's a reaction, and then there's a reward. That's a habit. And it goes through and it talks about how even people who lose their memory maintain habits. So for instance, you lost your memory and someone gave you something to put in your mouth, that felt like food, you do what? Sugar. Even if you didn't remember your name, even if you didn't remember your wife's name or your children, you would just chew it. It's a habit. There's some people who bite their nails just because of what they do. They don't know why they do it, they just do it. It's automatic. Habits become automatic. But this text that I'm reading is talking about how in order to get people to change the way in which they respond to the world, you have to change their habits. And one of the hardest habits to change is to get people to do something for someone other than themselves. But the hardest of all habits to break is to get people to do for themselves. The biggest challenge that you will have as a leader is to lead yourself. To get yourself to live out to your full potential, to live beyond what is comfortable for you. To live beyond your neighborhood, to live beyond your circumstances, to live beyond what everybody else expects of you, for you to do exactly what your heart tells you to do. Every single person here has a self-evident truth, something that is inside you right now that's telling you some life decision that you should make now. And you've been thinking about it, man. I mean, you really, this is on your mind. And if you pray on it. If you talk to your friends, you talk to them about it. But there's something that you know, and I know I'm talking to you because I know it. There is something that is so real that's inside you on this day. Here's the thing. You've tried everything else that's comfortable. You've tried the versions of it that are most palatable, that everybody else understands and that will make sense to everybody else. Like if they see you doing this thing, then they'll say, yeah, it makes sense because she's this kind of person. So therefore, this next decision is simple, right? It's a direct connection. There's something inside you that is so real that you can feel it. When you're alone, your mind drifts to it. When somebody talks to you for about 5 minutes, you find a way to work it in. As you set out to be leaders, you have to first govern and lead yourself. As you set out to inspire other people to be something that they need to be, you gotta be that. Your greatest challenge is accepting the challenge that is going on inside of you. See, when you get older, this is one of the real good things about being a parent. And grown people know this, is I'm not gonna look at them because they're gonna feel bad about it. So y'all just look at me. Don't look at them. One of the challenges, one of the good things about being a parent is you can bury all your dreams in your children. Everything you ever promised yourself you were ever gonna do, you can put it right on your child's responsibility plate. One after another, you wanted to do something, you wanted to move away, you didn't, so you just give it to your daughter. You wanted to be a doctor, so you make her be one. And right now, you are dealing with grown people's aspirations. Some of you are majoring in things that you do not want to do. You don't. It's almost like you come out when you go home. It's almost like when you go home for Thanksgiving, Mom, Dad, I got something I want to tell you. They're like, oh, God, do that. No, I want to be a teacher. Oh, it's worse than me. You sure you're not gay? The adults in the room know better than they're prepared to accept that the real leadership begins inside of you. Having the courage to live your life on your terms, and no one's gonna understand it. Not one person. Every person you explain it to is gonna add up your life before you, and it's gonna come up with another number. They're gonna say, hold on a second. So in other words, you mean to tell me that you have this, this, and this, and you want to do this? Okay, explain it to me again. All right. And then you explain it to him. You tell him, okay, wait, I know it doesn't make sense, but if I do these things, then this is going to happen, and then it's, but wait a minute, you did this, this, and this, and it didn't happen. I know it didn't happen before, but if you just, and what happens is the more you explain it to them, the less you start to believe in yourself. The more times you feel you have to justify that truth that's within you, the less it feels true. Strange thing about this truth, the more you expose it to the air before it's developed, it kills it. The more you share it with friends, you say to somebody, you know what, I think I want to be an artist. And look at you and say, you can't even draw. Dead dream. You know, I'm thinking, I'm at a point in my life, I've done this thing for a long time, I don't think I want to do it anymore. Yeah, but you don't understand, you got this and this and this, and these things go together, and if you keep doing this, if you just do it for a little while longer, then it'll feel like the way you want it to feel. And so you stay in it, you stay in whatever it is, you stay in it one more day, because you think, you know what, maybe this person who loves me, because that's the only people you take advice from. It's not like you walk up to some lame in the street and you say, hey man, I got a question for you. What do you think I should do with my life? You do not do that. You go to people who love you, and they genuinely do. They really want the best for you. And they say to you, you know what you should do. And they tell you, and it sounds good because their version of you is really good. And they'll give it to you strong as, you know what you should do, and you think, you know what, okay, I'm convinced. You're good at math. You know what you should do? Be a mathematician. You're like, well, what does that mean? Doctors make a lot of money. You should be a doctor. You should go to pharmacy school. You know why? Because every pharmacist I know has a job. When you truly have the courage to live the life that's inside you, when you truly have the courage to live out your dreams, that's when you become a real leader. Leaders start the party. They don't come to it. Real leaders, it's their party and you're invited. They're the ones who had the idea. They're the ones who came up with the notion. But then there was more. They did it. People ask me all the time, man, you know, I'm thinking about writing a book. I need a book mentor. What is that? What is a book mentor? I'm not doing that. Okay, but you know, like if you could just sit down with me and just talk to me about like what I should do. When the truth is self-evident, it doesn't need permission from the outside world. It only needs permission from you. You are the person with the key. You're the key holder. It's your truth. The reason you're not doing it is only because of you. Well, if I want to write this book, see, I got this really good story. Most people really don't have a good story. Like, if you listen to the story, you think, wow, that's pretty boring. But they think it's pretty important, right? And you know what? They may be right. Some of the simplest decisions have changed the way we see the world. Febreze, right? You know Febreze, the front purple. There's a scientist, he was working on some things. He smoked. Really simple, he smoked. He'd come home and his wife would always say, you smell like smoke. So he was working on stuff that ultimately became Febreze. He was just working on it. He was just in the office when he was working on it. And he came home and didn't smell like smoke. She asked him, did you stop smoking? That's the story of Febreze. Now we think, really, you would think something so amazing, this Febreze, like you spray it, it actually takes the scent out of the air. There's something about it that they were easy sell. So Procter & Gamble, which is this amazingly large company, one of the biggest companies on earth that you don't even realize how many things that you use come from this company. It's gigantic, right? You would think that Procter & Gamble, right, huge company, comes up with this great product, right, which is going to stop you from stinking, right? Good product if you have teenage boys in your life. If you have this, then it should be easy, right? Because you have this, and they should add up, and it's right, because they're simple. Sometimes it should add up, but it didn't. Because when they put it out there, nobody bought it. Leadership. Leaders look at something differently, but they have to start with themselves. The only way that you can truly live out the life that's yours to live is if you dare yourself to do it. When I look at this group, what I see are people who are asking themselves questions. That's where leaders start. I caution you, be careful. Because once you open up Pandora's box and you start asking these questions, somebody's going to answer those questions. The only person who can hear the questions right now is you. The only person responsible for the answers is you. So once you start asking yourself the questions, what is it? What is this truth that I hold? What is this thing that's inside me that I know is true? Everything that you see changes. The truth has a way of making everything else seem like a lie. Once you truly accept who you are and what you're dealing with, the life that you live now changes. Things become different for you. Your friendships change. Your family could change their perception of you. You will change. That's what the truth does. That's what leaders do. And when people see someone who has found their truth, you can't help but follow them. Because you figure, you know what, if this person found his truth, I need to jump behind him and go where he's going because I want to get how he got it. When you truly have found your truth, that's when you're a leader. That's when you can speak with a voice of authenticity that nobody else has. All the salesmen and women in the world can't make you buy something they don't believe in it. When I talk to you about this habit transformation, the very thing that makes a difference in habit transformation is not the removal of the stimuli, meaning, like, let's say you smoke and something bad happens, and you smoke every time something bad happens, removing something bad happens doesn't remove the desire to smoke. The only thing that removes the desire or changes the habit is your belief that it can be changed. Now, I know this is kind of an institution, something that you won't really understand, but this is even greater than that, because that messed the scientists up. When the scientists were looking at this very process of habit transformation, one of the things that they thought was because so many of the people who were participating in AA, which AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, which is an organization that actually has a religious bend to it, has a belief in God to it. So the scientists are real befuddled by this thing because you can't measure God, right? You can't measure that. But every single time they found somebody who had in fact overcome this addiction that they had, who made this life change, because that's what you have to see. I'm a social worker by training, and so you have to take away what it's not an addiction that we're talking about. It's something that's going on in your life. It just won't get out of the way. It won't stop that thing right there that you're trying to just get to move. That thing that you keep going back to. It's no different whether it's narcotics or food or a relationship or whatever it is, whatever that thing is that's just stuck right there, you're stuck on it. The only way to remove it, and they tried a lot of ways. One of the ways they tried was they actually implanted electrodes right on the, it's called, I'll remember in a second. Part of the brain where habits form, ganglia, basal ganglia. It'll come to me. What is it? Basal ganglia. Right. Basal ganglia. The basal ganglia is where the habits form. That's where they, in the mind, when they track your mind, that's where they find out where your habits form. That's where every time you do something, it's right there. They actually put electrodes right on people's basal ganglia, and they could stop them until something happened. Like until something stressful happened, they went right back to their habits. The difference between those people who keep doing the same thing and the people who change their life was that the ones who changed their life believed their life could be changed. It's really that simple. When you stand in front of a group or you stand in front of an individual and you are a leader and they see you as somebody who believes, someone who genuinely believes in themselves and them, that's how you become a leader. It's not being elected to an office. It's not standing in a position. It's not somebody giving you something or getting a scholarship or anything like that. That doesn't make you a leader. It makes you a lot of other things, but it doesn't make you a leader. A leader is, period. That's what a leader is. That's just how it goes. And leaders don't have to be the most boisterous or the best spoken. Sometimes leaders are the quietest people in the room. In a room full of people who are talking, it's the person who says the least who gets the most attention. Go to a club with a dude who talks a lot. Ladies will look right past that clown. He'll run his mouth, and you just sit there and watch. Matter of fact, seem disinterested. Watch how the game comes right to you. We're here to have a conversation about leadership, and what that is about your self-discovery. The only thing standing in the way of your self-discovery is your fear of what you'll find. And once you find it, because you know it's there, you already know what it is. If I ask you to write it down on a piece of paper and put it in your pocket, your only question is, who's going to see my pants after I'm through? Because you know what it is. You already know what it is. And once you know what it is, then you have to do something about it. And that's the problem. The problem of every leader is doing something about the thing that is inside them. You can't change lives if you don't change your life. And not one of us is either too young or too old to do that. There's no age limit and there's no beginning point. Because life constantly changes. That's what makes it life. When it stops changing, it's death. Everything up to that point is life. And so you have to ask yourself, whether you're in high school, middle school, college, or beyond, am I ready to change? Am I ready to be a leader? I believe that there's leadership in each one of us. I believe it's something that we're supposed to take charge on and show other people how to do. And I believe that our greatest challenge is not our family, is not our friends, it's not our culture, it's not our class, it's not where we come from, it's not who we know or don't know, it's not our intelligence, it's not any of those things. Our greatest challenge of all is us. If you move out of your way, who's going to stand in? If you dare yourself to live big, then who's going to stop you? I've tried the asking people for permission thing. I've tried it. I'm really bad at it. But I've tried it. I've tried to get people's approval. I've had what I thought were some really good ideas. Some of the ideas were apparently good because somebody who didn't ask for permission did them. See, as you get older, you'll start to see some of your ideas like, man, I thought to do that. That guy's a millionaire. Thanks, stupid people. There's so many things that we think to do that we don't do because we're afraid. We're just afraid. When all is said and done, it's just fear. Garden variety fear. Your generation in particular has more fear than any generation that's ever come before it. And the reason why is because the parents, our generation, we've done a really bad job of exposing you to fear. I just read an article in The Atlantic And in that article, it talks about how our generation of parents is so afraid of allowing you to just be that we keep you next to us all the time. You're like a whoopee, right? You're like a blanket for security for us. We did your homework. We'll write your college papers. We put you on play dates. I mean, how bizarre is that? Two adults getting together to decide it's okay for children to play. It's an absurd notion. We don't let you go out across the street. We build fences around our houses. We make everything soft. We take every corner out of the house. We do everything we can to make you soft. And you're soft. This generation, in this country, y'all soft. Even those of you who struggle with poverty, you ain't struggling with poverty the way it was just a generation before. Even that has changed for you. Because we want to make you comfortable. We don't want you to be sad. So we want to make sure that everybody gets a trophy. Some people don't deserve trophies. Some of y'all suck. And you should be happy you're on a team and you ain't a manager. We've put you in this situation, this predicament, really, where you're afraid when, in actuality, there's research that says that people who are more likely to, people who have fallen from a high place, actually physically fallen from a high place before they're 9 years old, are the least likely to be afraid of heights. All the things that we're doing to essentially protect you from yourself are protecting you from growing. And so as a result, this generation is among the most fearful. The most afraid to take a chance. Because you think that you got to walk lockstep, one step in front of the other, and just do exactly what was planned for you. But who among you is going to be the creative ones? Who among you is going to be the individual who says, I'm going this way? I know I have this education, I know I can do all these things, but I want to do something different. I don't want to go to medical school. I don't even like science. I know I'm supposed to marry this dude. I don't want to. I know everybody says I'm good at basketball. I don't really want to play. Who among you is going to have the courage to exist in the truth? That's leadership. That's leadership. Your ability to deal with your past and your present in a meaningful way, that's leadership. I know in college you talk about these large concepts, and that's because we have to introduce you to the big concepts. But call this a master class on leadership. Leadership starts from within and it ends in. It's about making life-altering decisions. And if you dare lead, people will talk about you. A lot. People who are supposed to love you and be right there for you every day are going to talk about you. Because leadership is lonely. Living your truth is a lonely place in the beginning. It doesn't stay lonely. I lived in Philadelphia for a while. I went to graduate school there. And I worked for a really wealthy guy. And we had, he had floor seats for the Sixers games and a skybox for the Eagles games. And everybody knew who he was. And I was just this dude who was broke as a joke. And I got to go to all these things and to do all this because he was rich and I got to go because I worked for him. I was an intern for something he was doing. And so I was probably 24 years old, 24, 25. And, you know, he's a black man and I'm African American. And it just seemed like I should stay with this guy till he kicked me out. Because it was a good look to be in that position. And I was in a big city. I'm from a small town in Connecticut. And I had officially been out of poverty. Well, I actually hadn't quite made it out of poverty just yet. But I was in graduate school and I was trying to get out of being broke. And it seemed like that was the way it was going to happen for me. So one day, we're sitting in the skybox. And I was there with, who was become my wife, but we were dating at the time, and I was trying to ball out. Right? So I had my brother-in-law there, my father-in-law there, or my girlfriend's brother and father. We're sitting up at Veterans Stadium looking down on the game. We actually were there for a Phillies game because my father-in-law is a great fan of the Atlanta Braves. The Braves were in town. He'd never seen them in person. I was doing my thing. You understand? So as I sat there, I said to my brother-in-law, Dean, I said, I'm not staying with this dude. I'm leaving. He looked at me like I was an idiot. He said, what did you just say? I said, I don't want to work here. It's like, this dude's about to do a job, like in front of us. In a skybox. Are you drunk? Because I'll answer for you if you're drunk. I'll answer for you until you sober up. I'll take you out back. I'll speak for the rest of the night for you so you don't say anything else stupid like this. He said, you understand? He went, and it's a true story. He went through and he said, you understand how much the thing cost? You know how much we're paying to be? You know how much this would cost to just sit in this? Do you understand? He did the whole math. He's like, and he did it for the whole season because he's like in the money. So he went through, he's like, this is $100,000 for us to watch baseball and football games, and you think that we can go? No, you are not leaving. You're staying. Nah, Chief, this ain't for me. This is his. This ain't mine. I'm visiting. I can't spend this man's money. This is what he earned. This ain't what I earned. I don't look good wearing other people's stuff. It fit me right. This is his dream. This ain't mine. I don't want this. He said, man, you never gonna get up one of these boxes and give me this. Mike, right? This ain't for me. I said, I think I'm going back to my small town and I'm gonna run a homeless shelter. He almost threw me over the side. He said, what in the hell are you talking about? How big is this shelter? I said, I don't know. How much they gonna pay you? $29,000, $30,000. He said, that's 3 games. I said, Chief, if money's in my future, it'll be there when I get there. And it'll be mine. All of it. I don't have to explain how, why I got it. I don't have to give any of it back. It'll be mine. And I'll live the life that makes the most sense to me. I'm doing all right now. And he's doing all right too. But he's unhappy. And I am not. There is no amount of money in the world, there is no amount of affection in the world from any person that can make you happy inside your soul. You can be loved in ways in which you never thought it possible to be loved. Somebody can pick you to be their soulmate. Somebody can pick you to be the person that they hire. Somebody can pick you to go to their school. Somebody can pick you for anything, and they can really want you. They can tell you everything you want to hear. But if it doesn't sit right inside you, then you're not leading yourself. You're not responding to that truth. That's leadership. I started a school because I just believed in our community. I believed that if I put Black and Latino kids in a great school, we could change the world. I believed it. I wasn't convinced that our kids were less intelligent. In fact, I was convinced the opposite. I was convinced that kids who come from the worst circumstances are actually more prepared. A kid who has to wake up and walk through some level of tomfoolery to get to school. A kid who has to work just to stand at the bus stop so somebody doesn't hurt him or her. I put my money on them every day. You give me a team of them and we will whoop your behind every day. Every day. I'll take them against anybody. You could take your two-parent, coming from the best circumstances, play-dated kids. You could take those kids. Give me my kids from the hood, who may or may not know their parents, who may or may not know who's supposed to be raising them. Give me them. And say, go. When the race is over, I don't want any excuses. I don't want any complaints. When it's over, it's going to be over, and we will win. I live my dream every day. I get to work with the most beautiful kids on earth. Some who, only thing they're going to eat is the stuff we give them at school. Only person who's going to teach them are the people I employ. Only person who's going to say they love them are the people who I work with. People they're going to feel like their parents are going to be my colleagues. There is no good reason why I should have a school. None at all. None at all. There are people who would tell you I shouldn't have a school. I got one. No, I have two. And counting. When you expose your dreams to too many people, you expose it to the air. When you expose your truth to too many people, you expose it to the air. You take it out and put it out for public consumption for people to start to talk about it. And when they start to talk about it, they'll talk about it real bad. Real bad. Every single person who I asked for help on the school, every single person, every single one told me no. Not some, not most. Not some, not most. I said to them at 30-something years old, I want to start a school. Have you ever run a school? Nope. Never run a school? Nope. Do you know anybody that's run a school? Nope. Do you know anybody that's ever started a school? Not one. But there's something inside me that says, I've got something. There's something inside me that says, I know this. That same thing that's inside me is inside you. No matter what you believe in, no matter what force you believe in, no matter what thing you believe in, the faith inside of each one of us that makes us human says that they didn't stop when they put it in me. But we believe in put it in you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and everybody in here has it. Every single person in here has it. The difference between those of us who are happy and living out our dream every single day and those of us who are not is we listened and you didn't. We went through the fear and the hurt and the pain of dealing with it and you didn't. You promised yourself over and over again that you would, but you didn't. So today, make a new habit. Today, live in your truth. Today, make a decision to make a life that you could have only dreamed of. become your every single day. Today, become a leader. Thank you so much for your time.